Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving into something incredibly practical, the language of buying and selling secondhand.
Yeah, we've been looking at a source, basically a script for English learners, all about someone selling a TV.
Right, and our mission here is to kind of cut through the script format itself and pull out the real core knowledge.
Exactly. We're talking vocabulary, grammar points, those cultural bits, everything that makes this scenario such a rich source for understanding real English conversations, especially when you're making a deal.
Think of it like your shortcut, to sounding natural and knowing what's coming when you're on, say, Facebook, Marketplace, or something similar.
Totally. So the heart of this material is a super common situation, a dialogue, right? Between Tom, the seller, and Nina, the buyer.
They connected online first, now they're meeting in person.
And the scene is immediately set. They're looking at a specific item, a 55-inch Samsung TV. It's about 2 years old.
Okay, so that immediately tells you, context-wise, it's not new. The language used is going to reflect that it's a used item.
And the conversation, it gets straight into the important stuff.
Huh.
Tom starts describing the TV.
What does he say?
He uses the phrase, excellent condition, says the screen is perfect. But importantly, he's upfront about the remote. Says it's a bit worn out.
Okay, worn out but functional. That honesty is pretty key, I think.
Definitely. And he gives a really common reason for selling. Just upgraded to a smart TV.
Ah, yes. You hear that all the time. Selling the old because you bought the new? Makes sense.
It's very relatable. Now, Nina, she acts like the smart buyer you really should be. She asks to see it work.
Good move. Always test electronics.
Right. So they plug it in, need an extension cord, another practical vocabulary item there. And the picture quality is described as crisp.
Crisp. That's a good word. Better than just good. Tells you something specific.
Exactly. These details matter.
Okay, now this is where it gets, really interesting for anyone who's ever tried to buy or sell something secondhand. The negotiation.
Yes. This is often where people feel a bit unsure, language-wise.
So Tom starts. He says he listed it at $250. That's his opening price.
But then he immediately adds he's willing to go down to $220.
See? He built in some wiggle room there. Very common.
And Nina, her counter offer is direct.
Yeah.
$200 cash right now.
Ooh, the cash right now. That adds a bit of pressure, immediacy. It can be a strong tactic.
It often is. And how does it end? The classic compromise? They meet in the middle at $210.
Textbook negotiation, that back and forth, using phrases like listed at, willing to go down, meet in the middle. It's all there.
And Nina's questions throughout are just a goldmine for you, the listener, if you're buying something.
Like what? What does she ask?
She asks about scratches, any issues. She asks why he's selling it, trying to gauge the real reason.
Right, sussing out potential problems.
Exactly. She asks to see it work. She clarifies the asking price versus the potential final price, and even asks about the original box or manual.
Those are all really practical questions. Knowing them helps you prepare, know what you should be asking.
Absolutely. So let's maybe pull out some of those specific language nuggets, the vocabulary that this scenario really highlights.
Okay, yeah. What stood out?
Well, starting right at the beginning, posted online. Simple phrase, but it sets the whole scene in today's world of digital marketplaces.
True. Then the condition descriptions. Excellent condition. That's kind of the standard phrase you hope for, right? Like new, basically.
And then the flip side, the things you check for. Scratches. You need that word.
And worn out. Perfect for that remote. Maybe a frayed cable. Something used a lot, but maybe still works.
And we heard upgrade as a reason for selling. Very common motive.
Practical items, too, like extension cord. You might actually need one in that situation.
And that word for the picture quality again. Crisp. Great descriptive adjective.
Then the negotiation terms. Listed at for the starting price.
Cash right now for that immediate firm offer.
And the resolution. Meet in the middle. Love that phrase.
Me too. It's so common. But this source material, it also dives into how English actually sounds. Pronunciation stuff.
Oh, like linking sounds.
Right.
That's super important for understanding natural speech.
Exactly. The example given is turns on quickly. Spoken naturally, it often sounds more like turns on quickly. The A's links to the O.
Yeah, words just blend together. It's not always distinct like written text.
And then there were reductions. This is huge for sounding natural.
You mean like I am becoming I'm.
Yeah, or do you becoming do you and want to becoming wanna.
Right. The dialogue had examples like, do you want to plug it in? instead of the full, do you want to plug it in?
And I'm selling it because I upgraded
Yeah.
using I'm.
Recognizing and even trying to use these reductions yourself makes a big difference. Helps you understand people better, too.
Definitely. And beyond just the words and sounds, there's valuable cultural context here, too, about, buying and selling secondhand in places like the US or UK.
Like mentioning the common platforms, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, eBay, those are the big ones.
And it confirms that negotiation isn't rude or unusual. It's often expected.
Knowing how to start that politely is key, though.
Right. The source suggests phrases like, is the price negotiable? Or maybe, what's the lowest you'll take? Perfectly normal questions.
It also mentioned the preference for cash only. Why do you think that's so common still?
Well, it avoids online payment fees, potential scams, or chargebacks. It's just simpler, quicker, and final for many private sellers.
Makes sense. No fuss.
And crucially, safety. The source flags the importance of meeting in public, maybe bringing a friend.
Which connects the language directly to practical real-world safety. That's good.
Very important. Now, this deep dive also uses the dialogue to highlight a really key grammar point.
The difference between the present perfect and the past simple. Always a tricky one.
It can be. So the question is, when do you use which one when you're talking about the past?
Okay, give us the examples from the dialogue.
Well, Tom says, I have upgraded to a smart TV. That's present perfect.
Why? What's the focus there?
The focus is on a recent action, the upgrading, and its present result, he now has a new TV, and that's why he's selling the old one. The exact time he upgraded isn't the main point.
Okay, got it. Recent action, present relevance.
Now contrast that with, I listed it at $250. That's past simple.
Because that refers to a specific finish action in the past, right? The moment he created the online listing.
Precisely. The listing action happened at a particular point. Understanding this difference helps you describe past events much more accurately.
So it's about whether you're emphasizing the connection to now or just stating a completed past fact.
Yeah, basically. The source gives other examples like, I have bought a new TV, focuses on having it now versus he listed it yesterday, focus on the specific time yesterday.
And this isn't just about passively understanding, is it? The source material is designed for active practice.
Right. Things like role-playing these scenarios yourself or maybe doing fill-in-the-blank exercises. That really helps cement the vocabulary and grammar.
Good point. It also quickly answered a couple of practical questions people might have.
Like the difference between used and secondhand.
Yeah. Basically, they mean the same thing. Maybe used is a bit more common in the US, secondhand, perhaps slightly more formal or British English sometimes, but interchangeable, really.
Pretty much. And it also confirmed that asking, can I get a better price, is totally fine, polite and natural.
Good to know. It's not seen as rude.
Not at all, if done politely, which leads to the idea of applying all this.
How can you, the listener, practice this?
Well, the best way is to try it. Imagine selling something you actually own. A bike, maybe headphones, an old textbook. Try creating a short dialogue, even just in your head, using some of this vocabulary.
Like excellent condition, listed at, maybe even meet in the middle.
Exactly. Put the language into a context that's real for you.
So looking back, this deep dive into what seemed like a simple script about selling a TV, well, it gave us a lot more.
We pulled out key vocabulary, excellent condition, worn out. We looked at pronunciation features like linking sounds and those reductions like wanna.
We touched on cultural norms around negotiation, payment, even safety.
And we clarified that grammar point, present perfect versus past simple, using real examples from the conversation.
It really shows how much practical language knowledge is packed into these everyday situations, doesn't it? If you just take the time to look closely.
Absolutely. It's all there.
Which kind of leaves us with a question for you, doesn't it?
Huh.
How many other common everyday scenarios could unlock this much language learning if you just, deep dive into the specific words and phrases people actually use day to day? Something to think about. Keep exploring.